click the links to join the channel here or over on Subscribestar. Thanks everyone's Cash App and coffee donations. So everything I heard about Vox Day, everything the left wing tells you is a lie, and I'm quickly getting to that point, or I guess I'm already past the point where everything the media and the government tells you is a lie. And I remember decades ago sitting in the desert around a campfire with a bunch of grizzled old timers who were trying to explain this wings of the same bird concept, and everything's corrupt, and I was listening to them, and I didn't think they were tinfoil hat people. I was just listening to what they were saying and kind of taking it in. And this was a long time ago, and they're probably long gone by now. And now I look back, I realize, oh, not only were those grizzled hippies, like back in the day, if you're going like 30 years ago, hippies were different. They were right and left wing hippies. And you try to explain it to someone a modern day, they just don't understand the concept, because the left wing, like back in the day, there were left wing and right wing people who knew the government and the media was corrupt. Nowadays, the left-wing people are on board with the government and media. So you're literally going to find more right-wing, in quotes, hippies, which would be like the right-wing libertarian liberal side. And then there are the more authoritarian branch of the right wing. But, you got to take the bedfellows where you find them. But back in the day, it was different. Like you would have left-wing and right-wing hippies or granola types or militia guys, like all sitting around a campfire smoking weed together and drinking whiskey. It's like that was... And no harsh words, no argument, like that arguing, disagreeing about politics, yes, but like arguing harsh words, like getting emotionally involved, that was never on the table. Nowadays, you're seeing kids and people in their 20s and 30s and 40s who are acting like children to get emotionally involved in this stuff, where back in the day, it's like that would just be unheard of. You would feel bad for the person that they had such a weird upbringing, that they were so, I guess it's kind of the participation trophy generation. So like you got a bunch of, nowadays you got a bunch of adult bodies, but with this childlike development where they can't hear anything that goes against the narrative because they take it personally. It's like why diversity in comics caused such a stir when 4 years ago, because he was talking about the stories in the comics and the writing and the art and the narrative behind it, and they took that like they lost their they went to war over that, and you're like, dude, we're just talking about bad comics. It's just a criticism of a comic, but it was a criticism of them, which hurt. But it was also a criticism of the narrative, which is this whole, globalist type of theme that they're pushing. It's like you're criticizing. That's why it's so parody, lampoon is very important, to knock down their ideas and laugh at them as much as possible, because you're knocking down the ideas they're putting forth in the comic books. Like you're staring in the window. Like these are their ideas. This hatred they have, this anti-Western hatred, they're telling you, like, the comics is one facet of the presentation. But that's why they lost, like Mark Waid lost his mind over that, because people are, these globalist themes that are in comics, blonde man bad, right? Like, that'll solve all your problems, blaming the blonde man. Like that was really what Diversity in Comics was making fun of. He was making fun of that narrative, and he did it very carefully. And Mark Waid probably helped make Zach a millionaire. When you think about it, like he helped that first campaign to the tune of $200,000, and then like running on that energy, he probably brought in, like Mark Waid's probably responsible for like $500,000 net flowing into Zach's coffers. So anyway, I'm at the point now where, and I think a lot of other people, even if you're on the left and the right, like a lot of people on the left have kind of been disillusioned lately. They look around, they're like, things are not the way they've been presented, and we start asking questions. Suddenly we're istophobic, and like you're lumping us in with these far-right extremists. Oh, you mean like Sargon of Akkad? Yeah, you guys are all far-right. So Vox Day and Sargon, and like my point is, you've got the milk toast with Vox Day, who's a little bit further right. And like, no, he's extreme far-right. And then he points to somebody much further beyond Vox Day. Like, so what would you call this guy? Oh, he's extreme. So Sargon is literally Satan. And Vox Day is like Satan plus. You get the point. They're lumping everyone from the far right, which does exist. There is a legitimate far right. Most of them are in my Telegram. But there is also a moderate right. And like keep in mind, the far right is defined by, so you guys want free speech? You guys want free speech? Yeah. Why don't we have free speech? The Nazis wanted free speech. Okay, that's a weird that's a weird construct to frame. Oh, well, we didn't mean that. Let me reframe it somehow. You want free speech, and somehow they have to find a way to justify censorship. The thing is, my point is, I'm on Twitter. I've spent way too much time on Twitter, and I've seen left-wing people, legitimately, you can scroll the timeline, they're legitimate left-wing people, And they're also coming to the realization that you got to have free speech. You can't have censorship, because it comes to that point of, well, who do we trust to censor? And then you look at Nina Jankowicz and you're like, oh, sweet Jesus. You put her in this godlike position. So that's it. Twitter is changing things in the discussion of liberty. So Arkhaven and Vox Day, Chuck Dixon. So the thing about Vox Day is, right, these left wing people were saying all kinds of things about he's extreme, whatever. He's a little bit of a troll, right? So I listened to his channel years ago. I don't even know if he's still allowed on YouTube anymore. And honestly, my time's probably short too. The I heard his channel. It's like I didn't hear anything crazy. I listened to it several times. Like, he was saying the truth. He might have been saying it in a little bit of a blunt way, but it wasn't crazy. And it wasn't for me, because like I've already heard the things he's saying. Like, once you you go down the rabbit hole, you don't need to hear it presented in different ways. But I wasn't hearing the things that the left were strawmanning him to be. And so you look at the left, like, you guys have a history of lying, and now it's at the point where everything the media and the government says, which is the modern left now, seems to be a lie. So you don't have to keep investigating. You can just it's like, oh, it sounds like Bolshevik propaganda, because it fits the pattern of Bolshevik propaganda. Anyway, so I went to his website. He writes comics. It turns out he's actually a much better writer than he is a speaker. He put these comics together. He's got this Arkhaven website, I think. It's really solid comics. So now he's got a crowdfunding campaign with Chuck Dixon, who was also a fantastic writer. I have one of his comics sitting on a shelf that I think All About the Books sent me, so mahalo for that. The printing of the comic, what was it called? Something like All Men Must Die or something like that. The printing was a little dark, which probably, when they got that back from the printer, probably broke their heart. It was a little bit dark, but still, it was a fantastic comic. And then I went and read a bunch of his other stuff. He's an amazing writer. So their Vox Day and Arkhaven, is that the same thing? Is got a Kickstarter going for ongoing vampire series, Midnight's War. Now, if you're not following the culture war, yes, these are a little bit of tweaking the nose of the far alt left extremists, the hate speakers on the alt extreme far left. Speaking of which, Chad Loader got kicked off of Twitter, I think, for advocating violence. It turns out when you apply the Twitter rules equally, the far alt extreme leftists. Yeah, it sounds just as ridiculous when we say it. Oh, no. When we say it, it's true. And when you say it, it's, no, I'm not touching you. It's like, you guys argue like children. Yeah, I guess there's a lot of Antifa accounts that got kicked off for advocating violence. It's weird that they've been allowed on for so long. And then there's also prurient interest in those under the age of majority accounts who got kicked off. Like, Elon kicked most of those off in like 2 weeks. And it was like, he fired, half the staff, and he still managed to kick off those accounts. So kind of makes me question, why were those accounts allowed on for so long? It's weird, you're on the left and you're framing yourself in this debate of you're being on the side of protecting something most people find abhorrent. Even people on the left find the stuff that the modern far left is defending to be like a bridge too far for people on the left and the right. The stuff with kids is... People look at, so what about those child? So, like, this is another thing they bring up. I realize I don't talk about comics, but whatever. They bring up this thing about, like, the child pageants or something, like the Benet Ramsey type of thing. And we look at that and we go like, oh, yeah, by all God, yes, ban all that stuff. And you realize, like, there's a ton of support to ban anything to do with the exploitation of kids. And they go, oh, I thought you right-wingers, you Christian right-wingers were supportive of pageants. It's like, no, I think that it's a very small percentage of people who are supportive of that kind of stuff. Like, why don't can we agree to just ban anything to do with exploiting kids, like dressing them up and exposing them to adult concepts? Can we ban all that stuff? And they don't know what to say it with them, because for them it's stimulus response, where if the right wing agrees with them, suddenly they'll have to re-examine their position, because they have this kind of oppositional defiance thing going on, where it's stimulus of a right-wing idea, and then the response is you must be 180 degrees from it. So the series Vox Day Chuck Dixon by a Brazilian artist, Ad Emir Leal, colored by Blonde and Leal, takes place following a catastrophic global economic crisis. So a little bit modern day tweaking the nose of the alt extreme violent hate speech filled left wing. It's like, I wish we didn't have to speak like this. Global economic crisis ushered in the rule of the, dear God, the overlords who came out of the shadows exerted their complete control over humanity by taking over systemic systems of marginalization and oppression. So you're really having a lot of fun with this. Okay, I gotta go take care of the dogs. But check out Vox Day, Chuck Dixon. They're fantastic. Okay. Click the likes. I'll see you guys on the next episode.